Hey.
Time to share.
Yeah.
That pa may sakit na.
Sa mga taga Maynila, happy fiesta.
What fiesta? What are you talking about?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Pista ng Nazareno. That's right.
Yeah.
It's not a fiesta.
Wow.
It's not a fiesta.
Really?
It is. The Feast of the Black Nazarene. What do you mean it's not a fiesta?
This
Nothing
guy's
to celebrate.
burying the fiesta.
Are you literally burying Jesus? Jesus Christ.
No, I'm not burying Jesus. I'm burying the devotees.
The tradition. Yeah, that's kind of that's
What
kind
up,
of
Deep
Feast
Prime?
yun sa mga taga Maynila because if you went to school in Manila, masaya kasi walang pasok ng Monday.
Walang pasok.
Yeah.
Or whatever
Long
day it
weekend.
fell. Yeah, right now you get a long
What's up,
weekend,
Doc G?
especially if you go to LaSalle.
Pati ba bukas walang
Because you
pasok?
don't have school Thursday, Friday. So shout out, diba?
D Prime, Glendale, hello.
Pati bukas walang pasok.
No, pag Fridays walang pasok LaSalle
Pag
usually.
Friday.
They
Okay.
do like a happy Thursday.
Right. Nga pala.
Diba?
Oh, wow.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
so pag tasalista ka, masaya ka. Kasi Thursday wala, Friday wala. Oh.
Gusto ko naman, Doc G.
Yeah, the
Jasper,
signals have been wacky. Yung data ko nagdolo ko
Jasper.
kaninang hapon.
As person in the
I
chat,
mean-
he's really sick right now. Please send him
Yeah.
love.
Yep.
Sendan nyo siya ng yeah.
Lahat nagkakasakit ulit. That's not good.
Yeah, the weather has been... Tsaka feeling ko sa ano din yan sa gunpowder sa air.
God dang.
Because of the fireworks.
Probably, yeah.
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 Ang dami pa din nagpaputok dito. I'm not in the province. I'm in fucking QC. Ang dami pa din nagpaputok in a private subdivision. It's crazy.
Yeah. Parang bumalik, parang na-notice ko nga this year, parang bumalik na ulit yung tradition na ano eh. People would buy fireworks. Saka, like, kanya-kanya silang, paputok ng mga fireworks.
Yeah. Tapos iniiwan lang nila yung kalat ng paputok dun sa kalye.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really
Bad
annoying.
practice. The worst practice.
Love
Yeah.
Lance.
Lance, what's up? Ina, hello.
Hello, Ida. Hello, Lance.
Just trying
It's
to get
Thursday
through today.
night. Oh my God. It's a whole thing now. Gawan ka namin t-shirt, Emil. The first time we're going to dedicate a singular shirt to a member of the
No.
pod.
We have done that before.
Have
He
we?
got offended by it. Yeah, we have. Before.
That's right.
Ano pala nun?
Hindi, tama. Huwag na natin siya, masaya na siya sa buhay niya. Sa friends, yes. Tama.
Yeah, sure.
Masaya na siya sa friends. That's Sleeping Dog's Life. Oh, nga pala, I remember that.
Thursday Nate, yeah. Mila has a good one in store. Saying Nathan today.
Yeah, the
He
last
thought he
minute.
wasn't able. Kaya siya vacant dun sa graphic is because wala pa siya nung time na yun. When I made the graphic. So, Emil
was
found
asleep.
something to Nate.
And then one day, Emil just starts ranting against Bacon.
Now, Vegan is a legend. How did you guys watch Raw this Tuesday? Gumamit ba kayo ng VPN? I know Ro did. Ikaw, Chino, did you use...
Ako din, VPN din ginamit ko. So, it's actually a lot easier pag VPN instead of the old ways.
Yeah.
The ways of old.
Alright, let's go.
I'm the best wrestler in the world.
My name is Colin Cash Money Cannon. Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
What do we want to talk about?
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Because mommy is always on top.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
I'm home.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
To say his name.
He appeared.
Stan C, the voice of Philippine wrestling, University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Romoran, the fancy daddy, University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Chino Diao, Best Gout Machine, San Sebastian College Recoletos, College of St. Benilde, De La Salle University, International Academy of Film and Television.
Emil Nate, small forward, the Ateneo de Naga University.
Rowan ASH, bad boy ng dance floor ng Quezon City, Central Scholar University, Manila.
I love you solo.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
We don't want to see Ro.
You are now listening and watching the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. We are the Wrestling Podcast.
I'm back.
Stepping in for Stan C here, Chino Liao, Romoran, Emil, Nate. Taking control of things in the wrestling world on a Thursday night. Yan. Yan si Ro. Yan na si Ro. Alright.
Yeah, Stan is actually behind the scenes because his voice is shot, so he's kind of indisposed. So send him your love. He's overdoing it with
no, sendan nyo siya ng yeah.
How is everyone doing tonight on the second live stream of 2025? May sakit na ba ang lahat?
I'm doing great, doing fine. Medyo busy now ulit sa work after the holidays, so it's good. Everything's good.
Yeah, may sakit na din ako like everybody else. So, I mean, welcome to the club, I guess.
Yeah. Babyface producer Jasper, do you want to? Jasper is in the chat. Do you want to add yourself into the game day intros? I think you should.
Yeah.
Para lang maano yung mga expectations sa mga tao. But yeah, we are here. We are officially. Raw is officially on Netflix. So Emil was asking before the show started, where do you watch Raw? So let's bump up the first plug para lang get it out of the way na natin. So Raw is on Netflix. I watched Raw and NXT on Netflix this week because I could, because we have a VPN over the Wrestling Podcast, and because I also have a new Netflix subscription, care of my subscription with Converge. It's the new Converge plus Netflix plans. You got 300 Mbps plus 25 Mbps plus a Netflix basic subscription on plan $17.98 all the way up to 200 Mbps extra and Netflix premium on plan $22.98. Guys, super sulit siya. Emil Nate is planning on upgrading as well. And if you also have a VPN like we do, whether it's free, whether it allows you to watch for free, or whether you're paying for it like we are, Netflix, WWE on Netflix is a game changer. I enjoy being able to fast forward, hindi naman fast forward, but speed up the playback on the video on demand. Kasi sometimes I don't have the time to watch everything in normal speed. So go check that out. GoFiber.ph to get to apply for the new plan and get the process going. And yun, let's hope that eventually they really bring in the WWE content and programming on our local Netflix, so we don't have to use a VPN anymore. Anyway, before that, before we get into our topics, let's tell the people how they can support the podcast. Emil Nate.
All right, so you can support the podcast in two ways now, through Patreon and Gank. The link is patreon.com/wrestling podcast and ganknow.com/wrestling2xpod for as low as $5. So magsulit. So there's benefits, of course. There's perks, the Discord server, the review content, a review of the weekly wrestling content, the special discounts, service fee sa pasabays, special treatments, viewing parties. If you're a patron, you have a seat automatically. You have a seat right there, right in front, sa ating mga viewing party, especially with the Royal Rumble in a couple of weeks. And again, by subscribing to either one of those, you're supporting the podcast going strong in its 11th year. Yun. So maraming salamat sa lahat ng ating mga patrons na patuloy na sumusuporta and sa mga future patrons who's gonna support us. Again, the links are right there below. Patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast and ganknow.com/Wrestling2xpod.
Pwede ba natin gawing perk yung mag-request sila ng Player 18 topic?
Yeah,
Yun,
sure, why not?
sige. Pwede natin gawin yan.
Sige. Why the fuck
added
not?
perk.
Diba? Sige.
You heard it first here on the podcast.
Yun. Pwede natin gawin yan.
Also, most reliable ang Gank. Patreon also sometimes has issues processing payments, especially when you're doing it with a card. So on Gank kasi pwedeng GCash on top of cards as well. So if you don't want your access to be interrupted, it's better rather to go with Gank. So ganknow.ph, ganknow.com/wrestling2xpod. Right, let's get to our topics for today. Syempre, we cannot not start with the biggest news, that is the Raw premiere on Netflix, and it was huge. It was 3 hours of entertainment, a spectacle, sports entertainment extravaganza, if you will. So what were your initial thoughts on the whole thing, guys? Well, let's start with China.
I'm gonna age myself here, but I was around when the Raw started, and I was around when Netflix started. Hindi sila sabay nag-start. There's a few years apart there. But I was around when Netflix was just DVDs. It was a thing where you'd call or email, and then they'd send the DVD over to your house. I remember that. I subscribed to that for a while. Yeah, and then I remember Raw being Raw from back in the day. And to have both of these things be where they're at right now is pretty damn impressive. It's just the thing with this particular Raw is they really treated it like a Raw catered for the mass audience, and you would have noticed this if you listened to Michael Cole, especially on commentary, because he did such a good job providing backstories for every single person involved in the match, diba? Whether it was the first match in Tribal Combat, ultimo pati yung moveset ni Jacob Fatu, breakdown niya para sa madla, because they were really trying to get as many fish in the net as possible. Kumbaga, just a wide cast, because they're after the wider audience that Netflix has. And so they're catering it to the mass public. So this show is their best showing of Raw for to date, in recent memory, in the fact that they were able to treat it like a PLE. And they're able to treat it like something, like a spectacle that's just once in a lifetime. And I'm just waiting to see if this is a sustainable product for them, if this is the way that things are now moving forward, or it's just because it's the first time that they're doing this on Netflix.
Yep. Right. Ako naman, the best part of Raw last Monday was, I think Jace said it in the comments, it was Travis Scott smoking
Di mo
a
na
joint.
kilala si Travis Scott eh.
Yung music lang, but I know who he is. It was Travis Scott, pulling a joint in front of in live TV. So that's okay. This is really the Netflix era na nga. So that was wild. When it comes to because I've been reading a lot of online reactions to Raw, and if you did not watch the show and you just based off what you read online, you'd think it's a bad show. But I think kasi this one was really catered, like Gino said, it's really catered to the new audience. Na it was very casual friendly, if I would say. Kasi it's their first episode in a much bigger platform, and so you got to pull in a lot of new viewers. And I really get what they were trying to do in Raw. It wasn't for the viewers who were already watching Raw in the past couple of years, and it's fine. I think the real show, the real Raw, darating yun in the next coming weeks. That's where it's gonna go back to the normal programming as we used to say. So it was fine for what it is. I could parang nakarelate ako sa mga tao nagsasabi it was kind of underwhelming because maybe there were a lot of high expectations coming into it, and but it was fine. It was fine for it being the first show on Netflix.
I don't necessarily think that it was catered towards casuals. I think it was more the fact that it is a big premiere. So, talagang ano siya. It had to be a big event more than anything. Like, I think the matches were catered just fine. I think they just had to big up the fact that they were doing this was a pretty huge night for WWE, so it had to be more ceremony than actual event. Kaya I do agree that it will be returning to normal in the coming weeks kasi nag-premiere na eh, 'di ba? So balik na tayo sa ano. So hindi na siya big launch. It just was what it was, and it sucks for people who were expecting wrestling on Raw, which is a lot of us kasi alam natin what Raw is capable of because of the Triple H era. It's just that it just had to be an event. And if you were tuning in for the first time, maybe you liked what you saw. Maybe you liked what you saw, but a lot of it was getting through to the next match, and sometimes it also didn't work out. What did you guys think of the new presentation? There was a minimized stage to accommodate the entire capacity ng Intuit Dome, and then the mat was black because they changed the color of the mat to differentiate Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown had a blue mat, and Raw had a black mat with a bunch of sponsor logos. So, what did you guys think of that? Was that something that was it something that you guys enjoyed? Did you guys enjoy also Pat McAfee's return to the show? How was the presentation for you?
I would say the announce table uh got a major upgrade. Hindi na siya magigiba ulit because ano na siya eh. When I saw it, it was okay. They upgraded it. My LED screen na sa baba, so they definitely update their game then when it comes to production, especially now that they're on Netflix. So ramdam mo naman yung pagkakaiba niya compared to last week's Raw, which was the last one on TV, on linear TV. So and also the ref gear as well. So pati yun little details that they kind of upgraded, like I appreciated it definitely.
Yeah, I don't like the mat. I don't like how there are so many logos on the mat. Nakakahilo siya tignan eh. With all the action. It's distracting from the action. Because after the first few times, parang nag-focus yung attention ko dun sa decals instead of what's happening in the ring. Diba? Lalo na pag nagta-top shot sila. And then you have to see Hulk Hogan's ugly beer logo right there as a turnbuckle. So every time you cut to a turnbuckle shot, nakita mo yung real American beer. Diba? So parang, yeah. And then it's black. And yung black kasi for me, the whole purpose of that is just to be plain, diba? The people wear black because it's slimming and it's low profile. But if you throw on black and you put on all that extra shit on top, then medyo nawawala yung purpose ng black sa akin. Hindi siya malinis tignan. I don't know, maybe it's just a personal nitpick, but that's how I felt when I was watching the whole thing.
It's weird because people complaining about the sponsor logos on the mat clearly do not watch Japanese wrestling or even Lucha Libre kasi punong-puno ng sponsor logos yung mga mats. But anyway, just neither here nor there. I mean, it is just advertising space, and sometimes you don't like advertisements. Diba? It is what it is. All right, let's move on to the next point ng Raw. One of the biggest announcements was the appearance of one John Cena, who kind of officially declared himself for the Royal Rumble because he declared that he wants to go for another World Championship, his 17th, to break the record near Ric Flair, the official record near Ric Flair. And he didn't want to walk in and and demand a title shot. He wanted to win it properly. So, we having known already from before this that Cena was entering the Royal Rumble. Was this a good use of Cena? Was this a good appearance by Cena? What did you guys think of this?
I don't care if you guys think this was a bad use of Cena, but I really love this promo. I really love this promo because this man took us on a journey. all throughout. Diba? Diba, sakto, Netflix siya. He went on a monologue throughout the 15 minutes that he was given. Mahaba yung promo niya. So almost 15 minutes. If you look at it on YouTube, it's about 12:55. But the whole thing took a while, but he took us on a journey, man. Dinaan na tayo sa self-doubt. Tapos dinaan niya tayo sa self-awareness. Diba? Dinaan niya tayo dun sa career niya. And just a whole thing. Every single bump in the road, dumaan yung journey ni Cena. And then it finally ends at him with a hero's journey in 15 minutes. Ang galing. Kaya I really like how he was able to do this promo. Such a masterclass in storytelling for me.
I love this promo. And it's exactly what I called last week when we were predicting. I said Cena was just gonna hype himself, in his and he's gonna say he's gonna go to the Royal Rumble, which I love that he did. He almost, he almost said he's not gonna go after a championship, and then yun nga, sabi nga ni Chino, diba? He took us on a wild journey during that promo. I'm okay with this. Again, it's the first episode of Raw on Netflix. John Cena just needs to show up, and he did. He did this thing, and that was it.
Okay. That makes sense. I didn't really care much about it because I really knew he was going to the Royal Rumble. But hey, it's not a bad thing that he established yung motivations niya, diba? Like it's not just, hey, I'm showing up and because it's the last time I'm entering the Royal Rumble, diba? So good on them for finding a reason for Cena, or at least Cena finding a reason to get to that point in the plot. Right, before we get to more talk about Raw, especially the two big wins, rather, let's hear from our fellow podcasts on the Pod Network. Right, a lot of big changes, a lot of big wins on Raw as Netflix. Let's start with the start of the show, the first match of the show. So, contrary to all our predictions from last week, Roman Reigns has a clean win and regains his tribal chief status after defeating Solo Sikoa after a bunch of interference from Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, the Tongans, even Kevin Owens, who Emil thought had no reason was to be there. So, all right, it's a clean win, and The Rock didn't really lay down any challenges or insert himself in the story other than to give Roman Reigns the Ulafala. So, what did you guys think of this whole thing, this whole direction?
First of all, I like how they gave us a mini sized version of the WrestleMania 40 main event. You guys know what I'm talking about, yung everybody in the pool, Avenger spots moments na binibigay ng match na yan. It's almost becoming a signature for Roman Reigns, diba? Last few matches.
Is it already?
Ngayon, kasi diba, ewan ko, parang nagiging signature na siya for me. And the only reason I think that is because the last few times he's done a match, laging may ganyan na nangyayari. Right? So everybody in the pool, let kami roll, ganyan. Yan yung sinasabi ng mga matches niya. So anyway, I like how they were able to deliver that with this one in the first time. Kasi kung ikaw, lagay mo yung sarili mo sa first time watcher, and you see the first thing pop up on your Netflix queue as Monday Night Raw live, and then the first thing you see is like, oh, ang daming epal. Siyempre, masastimulate ka, diba? The dopamine drop is there, it's gonna be there because there's so much action happening in the 15 minutes that they were given. So it was nice that it did this for us. Now, story-wise, I don't know how much of a service this is to Solo and company? Kasi saan sila pupulutin ngayon?
Yeah.
Diba? Can they still call themselves the Bloodline? Is he still the tribal chief? Kasi pag tinawag pa rin yung sarili niya as the new tribal chief, then medyo delusional na siya nun, di ba? He doesn't have authority over anybody anymore since he doesn't have the Ula Fala. It's also interesting that Roman mentioned January the 27th. So anong celebration yung pinaplano nila for that? Diba? I don't really know if there's
That's
something happening. Kaya baka kayo
for,
alam nyo.
clearly for the video game.
For
He's gonna be the cover.
2025.
Yeah, it's gonna be the cover of 2K25.
Right. So baka kasama din yan sa storyline. So sa Monday Night Raw. So we'll just, or SmackDown. I also think, ito pa, last thought. I think this stays on Raw. I think this whole storyline jumps back and forth now. It's not just exclusively to SmackDown. Kasi yung argument natin dito was, why is it on Raw? On the Netflix on Raw when it's a SmackDown storyline. I think they're trying to make it a bigger deal than it is and have this story jump from both brands kasi they want to emphasize how big a deal it is.
Alam mo kung sino pinaka-epal dito? Si The Rock. What did he even do? What did he even do?
There you
pull it up, bro. Pull it up. Stan, pull it up.
You know, I just saw this. He was so epal. Okay, I actually have more questions now than before with this story. Kasi, okay, Tribal Chief na rin si Roman. So what? So ano na ngayon? He's gonna go back to being a tyrant? He's gonna go back to being that asshole Roman Reigns that he was during all those years that he was champion. So plus with The Rock not really inserting himself in the story. So what is he going to do at Mania? Is he gonna go after a championship again? So this kind of leaves more questions than answers, in my opinion. Especially with The Rock na ng epal, pero at the same time, he's also saying, okay, I'm out. I'm not gonna wrestle at WrestleMania. He's basically breaking kayfabe by drinking tequila with Cody Rhodes.
I think, sorry, naisip ko lang, just to add, kung totoong galit si Kevin Owens sa mga taong hypocrite, then he should pile driver The Rock. It only makes sense for him to come out during one Raw and then pile driver Dwayne. Right? Kasi kasama na siya dun sa mga kaaway niya, diba? The whole reason he's doing all this shit. So, pag ginawa niya yun, angas nun.
I think what's next is a character study for Roman Reigns. Like, obviously, he can't be the same old tribal chief anymore. Kasi he couldn't win the thing without help from people who have seen him be, changed, I guess, but, seen him, I guess, feel some sort of remorse for how he was before. I don't know. Or see at least how much worse Solo Sikoa is. I don't know. That's going to be the thing that they have to juggle with moving forward. Right. Next, the other big win from Raw is the Women's World Championship is now back with Rhea Ripley, who is paying tribute to China with this gear. So, okay, the feud is finally over, or so we think. Was this the right call? Is this the right call, or does it matter as long as we just move forward from the Livria feud?
It's the right call to end this feud. That's what I will say. For me, it doesn't matter who wins at the end of this match, as long as they are done with this and they keep them separate for a long time after this. And they the champion and the main event scene on Raw is gonna be open again for people like Io Sky, Kairi Sane, who else? Sino pa?
Becky, kung bumalik siya.
Yon, Becky, yon. Yeah, definitely.
Asuka, kung bumalik siya.
And Bailey, there was diba? Baka lumipat si Bailey sa Raw. So I'm okay with regaining the title, even though I predicted Liv to retain last week.
Side note, Bailey is supposed to be. Oh, so sorry. Side note, Bailey is notable on this episode of Monday Night Raw because next week's Raw is in San Jose, her hometown. So baka magparamdam siya. We don't know. But yeah, I think, as far as this rivalry is concerned, I am with Emil here, and I will say na I'm happy tapos na to. Alright, that people can go their separate ways now or whatever. I don't know if I wanted Rhea Ripley to win. Parang argument ko lang na nakikita dito is that they wanted the more di naman marketable, the more I guess the more popular, the more wrestler looking, for lack of a better term, person to go over so that they have more of a market to Netflix. That's a weak argument. I don't know if it has any legs. But I also don't know why they couldn't have given it to Liv Morgan if there was any other reason. So I think that I like how they how I like how Taker put her over. Taker being the only Republican not to get boost that night. So good for him and good for Rhea Ripley moving forward.
Yep. Yeah. Becky Lynch was supposed to return. I think during after that title match, but they kiboshed that for Undertaker's motorbike appearance. So
motorcycle midlife crisis.
Yeah, hindi naman midlife crisis kasi
she's pretty old and
I mean, no, not just that.
100.
We've seen him ride the motorcycle in the early 2000s, so it's not a thing that's new or novel or anything. But anyway, Becky was supposed to come back, and I guess people wanted to see badass, big evil Undertaker instead of Becky Lynch. I guess. All right. Another big appearance was from The Rock, who showed up and had some nice things to say about people, especially Cody Rhodes. So people caught on the fact that he wasn't really in the final boss mode. He was putting over a lot of people in WWE. He was putting over the Netflix deal. And syempre, we're kind of crossing over to NXT, where he acknowledged this. But what did you guys think of The Rock just being in promotional mode?
My first thought when I saw this is that, okay, he's not going to be at WrestleMania because he's not in character. And he really locks into a character when you know that he has a match incoming. Because last year, that's what he did, diba? He really locked into that final boss character kasi he's gonna wrestle at WrestleMania, which he did last year. But this time, okay, this just pretty much confirms to me, okay, he's not gonna involve himself at WrestleMania because he pretty much just, like I said, Kalina, just broke kayfabe and drank tequila with Cody Rhodes, who he beat up last year and taunted his mama. So,
yeah. To be fair, shout out pa rin niya si Mama Rhodes. So, nandun pa rin. Consistent siya. No. Yeah. Yeah, definitely have serious doubts about this Rock Roman rivalry that we all wanted to happen. Baka hindi na mangyari, which is unfortunate. I think also because he has such pull, not just in the WWE, but also in show business. The Rock is now corporate Rock now. Like he's kulang na mag-suit siya na lumabas siya. You know what I mean? Like he's there to address his shareholders more than he's there to cut a promo.
Yeah. That's true.
He's there as he wasn't just there as a wrestler or as a WWE legend. He was there as a shareholder of TKO. That's why he did the whole spiel na shout out to Netflix, shout out to ganito ganyan. Kasi he's there as the guy in power, in position. So kaya to have somebody with that same face at the forefront of your company is huge, diba? Because he brings a certain gravitas to it. But at the same time, yung gravitas na yon comes at the risk of story and of kayfabe, which we saw what happened, diba? They are trying to, hindi ito yung Rock na trying to continue storylines from 2024 because again, he knows na, and I'm still maintaining this logic here, he knows that Netflix is always after a larger market, and that's why he came out there in his salesman attire, put on his salesman hat on, and started selling the shit out of the WWE because that's what he was there to do.
And he came out to feel the goosebumps 2 nights ago.
Yeah. Sa Sa kumita na daw kasi yung Moana 2, kaya doesn't need to wrestle.
Kumita pa talaga Moana 2. Yung mga pinanood eh.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I know it was a hit. Yeah.
Right, before we go to break, speaking of legends like The Rock, so a bunch of people were in the show, were in the crowd. You got Macaulay Culkin, you got Hulk Hogan, who was booed out the building. Are there any thoughts that you guys want to get off about the Hollywood star power and the legend star power that we saw?
Shout out to Kieran Culkin, Golden Globe winner Kieran Culkin. Kapatid nitong mamang to, si Macaulay Culkin. He was there in the front row watching CM Punk win against Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah, that was cool.
So it's very, what a life that guy is living right now. He was on Succession and now he's doing this. Sana makita din niya yung parallels ni Tony Khan at Kendall Roy. Para hindi lang ako yung nag-joke ng ganyan every week. No?
Yeah, Vanessa Hudgens was there as well. Pretty much regular now on WWE shows.
And Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell, that's right. Shout out to Stephen Amell.
My favorite celebrity moment of that show was fucking Bill Simmons, man. Gago.
Shout out Bill Simmons.
Really had the Celtics logo on his phone. What an ass.
No, akala ko you were talking about something else.
I will not tolerate any Bill Simmons slander on this fucking podcast.
Yeah, okay, fuck you, Emil. I want to get hired by the Ringer, so fuck you, Emil. We all want to get hired by the Ringer. I want to be on the big picture, motherfucker. Shut the fuck up.
I'm good.
I want to... yeah, hindi. I mean, mga ginagawa mo, Emil, eh. Wala nang ang boses sa stand. Pinagsalita mo pa. Going after the Ringer like you have Spotify money. Shut up, man.
Hey, last thoughts before we go to break. What do you guys think of CM Punk versus Seth Rollins? Did the right guy win? And is this the end?
No, this is not the end, but the right guy won, in my opinion. We predicted it. We predicted a CM Punk win last week. So it really pretty much went as we expected. So I'm fine with it.
Ako, hindi pa to yung end. It's not the end for this rivalry. There's so much story still to tell. Seth is still in his inception as a heel here. Diba? Hindi pa siya yung full heel. Kasi, ano pa siya eh, parang cheer pa siya. Kahit papano, kahit niyayabangan niya si CM Punk, he's still getting some sort of applause here because there are still people on his side. Now, nandito tayo sa era ng WWE where the heels aren't necessarily fully heels now, diba? May logic pa din yung kasamaan nila kahit papano. Whether that proves to be true with Seth as he continues down this road is still something to be seen. But I also think there's still a lot more story to be told dito sa rivalry na to. As far as the right person winning, yeah, I guess, okay, tama. Because CM, this is a fact I just picked up while I was watching. He hasn't been on Raw in 11 years or in a match in Raw in 11 years. Diba? So, dapat na talaga manalo siya. Because apparently, it's been that long. I didn't even remember that. So, dapat na manalo siya and it makes sense dito sa match na to.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is like the first step of the Seth Cody feud. Nanalo si, Cody when he arrived at WrestleMania. Then it became a whole thing because Seth went crazy. Right. Yep. Let's talk about AEW, NNJPW, and NXT syempre after the break as we hear from our fellow podcast one more on the Pod Network. Right, let's move on to NXT New Year's Evil, where all the championships up for grabs on the show, on the card, changed hands. Starting first with the main event, if you will, before The Rock came in. Obafemi won the NXT Championship from Trick Williams and syempre, a late Eddie Thorpe, Emil's favorite. So I think some of us predicted this. I can't remember what I predicted, but a huge win. I think it was the right time to pull this trigger. And did you guys like the way it went down?
I liked it because Trick still looks strong after defeat. It was one of those. Okay, you're gonna lose, but you're gonna look strong while losing, and that's what exactly happened here. And yun nga, Eddie was, I don't know. I really thought Eddie was gonna win, honestly. After he pulled that stunt at the beginning of the show, it's gonna be a late entry to the match, steal the pinfall, and win the championship.
What did you think of his stunt, Emil Nate?
I'm he's a heel now, so I'm okay with it. You know, hindi na siya nagpapaka baby face at this point. So I'm pretty much okay with it.
Pati na kayo.
I did call him a future world champion. So he's good. He's good in my opinion.
Akot bigla eh. Pinupush na kasi.
Again,
nakakatawa lang dito. This whole time, si Eddie Thorpe, he started his wrestling career as a strong style type of wrestler, diba? And now he's just a smarmy heel. So,
I mean, that's
very against the grain.
Yeah,
in New Japan, diba?
That's a WWE thing.
Yeah, diba? Tawa lang. It's just a funny comparison for me. But I like the decisive victory. That's put it that way. I like how he hit the power bomb and got a cover and malinis because it's supposed to be that way. Yes, heel siya, and heels are technically supposed to win in heelish ways, but this is the type of heel na kaya niya upakan eh. So this totally made sense for me. It also allows Trick still some logic kahit paano, kahit siya yung napin, to challenge Obafemi here for a rematch, diba? Because of rematch clauses and all that. So, hindi pa siya sobrang done and out. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a rematch here. And I'm pretty sure that rematch is just going to be as good as this one, if not better.
Right, agree. All right, moving forward. The other top championship also changed hands. Julia won the NXT Women's Championship from Roxanne Perez. And a lot of people are taking note of the fact that both Julia and Stephanie Vaquer are also having the push of their careers right now. And I think we also call this kasi syempre at oras na. So are there any other thoughts that you guys want to, get out there regarding this development?
I really think we're gonna get a champion versus champion match at Stand and Deliver. Now that they're kind of setting up the pieces. I think Stephanie's gonna win the Women's North American Championship. She's at di pa siya officially number one contender, but I think she's gonna be after next week. So I think that's the money match for Stand and Deliver. And they just set it up beautifully with Julia winning the title, and Stephanie's gonna win the title at some point, and they're gonna clash.
Yeah, parang kasi sa akin medyo given ito. Parang 1A, 1B sila ni Stephanie Vaquer, di ba? So them winning both times on the same card rather only makes sense at this point. So I totally saw her winning. Kasama yun sa predictions ko, but Vaquer winning was also a good call. Basically, it makes sense. Tama si Emil dito. It makes sense na magpagtutunggaliin na sila. Diba? Because they're just the stars here. They're building this division around these two ladies. And it only makes sense to transition from the previous era into this current era where international stars take center stage.
Yeah, agree. It was only a matter of time talaga. Right. Then the third championship that changed hands was won. Well, technically, legit na to. The UK Heritage Cup Championship is finally with Lexis King for real. I think he won rather clean. Diba? Parang wala naman shenanigans na nangyayari masyado. And no interference as well from William Regal. And now he won the match. He won the championship, the Heritage Cup Championship, in a standard match. So or what do you think of this? Do people does this championship still even matter, or is this one of the things that could help Lexus King in his path to the top?
I mean, it's his first championship, so that has to count for something. And they've been building up to this win anyways, and I think there's gonna be a rematch. Cause okay, that you won the title, but it's in a regular standard match, and that rematch will be good as good as last week's match. So, and yeah, I can see him being the unconventional Heritage Cup champion for a long time.
Ito lang na-feel ko sa Heritage Cup. It's going the way of the money belt. The $1 million title, that was a thing for a while. Diba? Parang nagiging stunt championship na siya. And I honestly don't want it to be that way. Sana Lexis King is able to maintain that standard of British rounds and not have to do with the sudden death stipulation that they had to wrestle here. Because it's a maintenance of tradition, diba? It's a maintenance of heritage here, as the title says. So sana lang ma-maintain nila din yun. Have it be a special championship that people compete for instead of having this stunt title that's just there and because it looks cool.
Yeah, I feel pretty sad about it kasi hindi nila pinaprioritize masyado because the British round stuff worked for NXT UK when it was on the network. But because we don't have that anymore and NXT is on TV, it's not working as well. So I feel like nobody cares. So they're not going to water that plant. So, it's a cycle of, neglect and abandonment. So sayang lang. If you didn't watch NXT UK kasi it wouldn't matter so much to you. Diba?
Yeah. If I was NXT, I'll just replace this one with a new version of the European title. Might as well.
I think they'll probably unify it with the North American.
North American.
I think that's where it's going.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on to AEW and then GPW. But before we do that, let's take one last break and hear from our fellow podcasts on the Pod Network. Few new developments on Dynamite this week, earlier today. First off is the main event where Kenny Omega returned to to AEW after a weekend in Japan, and he was attacked. He was attacked, rather, not almost attacked, but attacked by the Don Callis family, and none other to make the save is one Will Ospreay. So they used to be enemies, and now they have a temporary alliance of sorts because syempre, Will Ospreay is still kind of feuding with the Don Callis family. What do you guys think of this? It's probably going to lead to a bunch of banger tag team matches. So, is this a fun story for you? The prospects of a fun story for you?
Honestly, medyo disappointed ako na hindi pa pumapasok si Omega sa Death Rider storyline. But I'm okay with this one being a side quest first. It's a fun little storyline here. Kasi they were both screwed by Don Callis, so that unites them at least. And they may not see each other eye to eye, but again, the enemy of my enemy is my friend here. The situation.
Yeah, I like how they're addressing the relationship Kenny has with Don Callis here. Yes, it makes sense na pumasok din siya dun sa Death Riders. Pero this is like a good little side quest for him. Especially if you're one of those those internet guys that says, "Oh, Omega Ospreay online," diba? At least now you get this, fanboy. Congratulations. So, go crazy, diba? When they start flipping in the ring and stuff.
Yeah, Emil makes a good point about how Kenny isn't involved in the Death Rider story, but I guess Cope is the one. Siya yung nakatoka for that. So, syempre, you have to assign Kenny somewhere else. And I guess I'm not super excited about Kenny going back to feud with Don Callis, but with Osprey, I guess there's a fun thing on the horizon. Right, next, another big story from Dynamite. MJF, or rather Jeff Jarrett, continues his quest for a championship, for the world championship, because he just re-signed a contract with AEW, and MJF comes out and reveals that the new deal, quote unquote, Jeff Jarrett's last active performer contract ever, is only for another year. So there is a time limit to Jeff Jarrett's in-ring career at this point. So it's kind of like the Brian Danielson story, where there is a deadline on when he's gonna hang it up. So MJF says that Jeff Jarrett doesn't have a lot going on for him. So if he offers Jeff Jarrett a deal in which, if Double J helps MJF win the AEW World Championship, he gets the first shot, and so that he could possibly try to live his journey of getting one last World Championship. So this is interesting to you guys. What do you think of this little development here? This new story.
Honestly, do we need a Jeff Jarrett world title in here?
A lot of people were cheering him, though.
I mean, this guy hugged the world championship in TNA all those years ago. It's not like he wasn't a world champion. It's in the end of his career, and he wants to have a world championship.
Pero TNA kasi yun di ba?
But I think this is an interesting storyline for MJF. But at least he has to do something here. But this para tong yung JBL Shawn Michaels story back in the day. So so eventually they're gonna clash. They're gonna clash at some point, and it's gonna be a good, nice little program.
Mas surprising sa akin dito na face si Jeff Jarrett. I've been watching wrestling a long fucking time. Not once have I seen this motherfucker be a face. I've been watching wrestling a long time. Not once was he a face. So, nakita ko siya nagmamakaawa and like playing I'm a legend in his aged years type of card here. Parang nakakatawa siya sa akin. The same level na heel si Ricochet. They're both at the same level for me here as things I did not predict in 2025. So it's a nice little twist in the Jeff Jarrett armor here. A nice little kink in the Jeff Jarrett armor. Whether or not we do get a Jeff Jarrett title win is something else entirely. I don't think mananalo siya. Just because I don't think AEW is the type of place that just gives out world championships to people just because they're old. You know what I mean? Like, even Sting had to work for it a little bit, diba? So maybe he does get it via MJF, diba? So, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I think the whole thing would have crashed and burned if people weren't actually cheering Jeff Jarrett, diba? So
they're really cheering him.
Yeah, they are really cheering him. So it's weird. And to be fair, he did kind of earn those cheers by working his ass off in this AEW run. So really interesting stuff. And I think you're right. Emil's right that it's going to lead more to an MJF Jeff Jarrett feud, which I think is something that MJF is silently geeking over as a lifelong wrestling fan. So who knows? Speaking of people who are almost done. Francis is talking about it in chat. Speaking of mga traidor, we have rumors that Malachi Black is finishing up with AEW. We have a graphic here. He's reportedly finishing up with AEW. We don't know where he's going, but the smart money is that he's going back to WWE to be with his wife, Zelina Vega. So, what do you guys think of this? Is this the right move for Malachi Black? Is it the right move for him to quote unquote come home and be Alistair again? I'm sure a lot of people will cheer this because he's a sort of prodigal son when it comes to AEW and WWE.
I would love it if he would come back kasi he was an essential part of the black and gold era, which is the Triple H era. So he would fit right in, honestly. As a current state in WWE, and I think he just wants to really just wants to come back to WWE. This isn't really the first time that we've talked about Malachi Black going back to WWE. So I think he really does it this time.
Yeah, definitely he will find a spot on the roster this time around pag lumipat siya ng WWE because management is different now. Diba? He's one of Triple H's boys. So I think the fact that he gets that opportunity for himself is good. He gets that big WWE money, gets to be with his wife. He gets to be in the place that he wants to actually be in this time. So good for him. Did they address why he started shaking hands with people yet or no? Why
Wala.
hindi pa, diba?
No, more of naging tao siya eh.
Yeah. And they were feuding with who they
So
were
that was
feuding
it. That was the explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were
Okay.
feuding
were
with
shedding-
they were feuding with the heel team, ang alam ko.
Yeah,
Probably it
yeah.
was the Patriarch. Baka the Patriarch yun.
They started
Yeah.
shedding the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that probably
Actually,
makes sense.
yeah.
It gives it more credence now that he is on his way out since they didn't really bother explaining but hindi na siya monster or hindi na siya zombie or whatever.
Yeah. I'm just really scared because even though management in WWE is different, there is a critical mass of Triple H guys, quote unquote, in WWE that even if Aleister Black was an NXT champion back in the day, that doesn't mean that he's gonna get a big push, diba? Diba? Tingnan mo yung nangyari sa DIY. Like, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa aren't top guys. Let's be honest, they're not top guys on the SmackDown roster. They're just tag team champions right now. Diba? So, I feel like it's gonna be more of a lateral move. I don't think, a top run is in the future with him. The only good thing is that he gets to be with his wife. So that's okay. Hindi ko na lang alam din kung saan pupulutin si Brody King and Buddy Matthews, right? And I'm sure Buddy Matthews would also want to go back since Rhea is there in WWE. So naman, if the whole idea is to get a push, I don't think that's happening if he goes back to WWE. It's gonna be like, oh, hey, great, you're back, pero eventually magiging magiging part of the shuffle again.
I think with regards to that, it'll still take time for everybody to actually work their way to the top, diba? Kasi the top of the card now or the top of the male roster right now is Gunther, right? And Cody Rhodes, diba? When many years ago, 5 years ago, hindi naman ganyan yung itsura niyan, diba? It was Roman Reigns.
Right.
Just Roman Reigns. So at least may konting movement, may konting space for people like Gunther and Cody Rhodes for them to be there, diba? The Triple H guys will have their time. I believe that. Maybe not in the next 5 years, pero meron yan.
Well, hopefully, kasi as Doc G said, Andrade is stuck in the mid card once more. Well, I guess he gets to travel with Charlotte and all that stuff. But if you're looking for advancement, diba? If you're like a Tyreek Hill, diba? Of some sort, then who knows? Who knows? Saan pupulutin yung career mo with a super stacked roster. It's just one of those things that's hard to break through. Right? Before we end the show, we have one last point. It's time. It's time for Play and Nathan with Emil Nate. We have a vacant. We have vacant on this graphic, but Emil found someone to play a Nate. So who is it, Emil Nate? Who are you playing against tonight?
All right, so the play-in Nathan of the week goes to one Chris Charlton of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, if you heard, you saw the rumor mill, if you saw the internet, he got suspended by New Japan Pro Wrestling for 2 months after making some comments about AEW on the Wrestle Dynasty show. And if you watch the show, because a lot of people are pointing towards nung Kid versus Omega match. That's when he was like at his full anti-AEW mode. But he did the anti-AEW thing the entire show and really got annoying. I have a problem with this because first, it's not the show was not presented as an AEW versus NJPW show. It was more of a, hey, here's a collaborative show between all these companies, and this is for the love of wrestling. Second, there isn't really an ongoing storyline right now between NJPW and AEW, so there's no sense for him to go on an anti-AEW tirade. And the third thing here that I have a problem with is, um, AEW and NJPW are business partners at this point. So why the fuck would you jeopardize that by making comments on air about your business partner? So unless there is a storyline going on, these comments are very unprofessional in my opinion. Uh, it's not in line with who he was all those years ago, because I actually like Chris Charlton. He's an incredible commentator. He knows his stuff. He was a hidden gem back in the day, and now he's prominently featured as the lead color commentator. But this was an L. This was an L day for Chris Charlton. He should have been more professional, and those yun lang talaga. Yun yung problema ko sa kanya. So he should have known better.
Yeah, I agree with Emil here. It's funny because Chris Charlton is a wrestling historian, so he should know technically how the business works, how politics works, how stories work, and it's weird because he took it upon himself to defend the honor of NJPW in storyline when yun nga, as you said, Emil, there wasn't any sort of story happening for that about that, diba? So yun tuloy, nagmukha siyang ewan kasi bigla niyang inatake yung person that put on this show to begin with, because it was a co-production with AEW. So yeah, again, serious lesson here for anyone looking to get involved with pro wrestling of any sort, or anyone who is getting involved with a business of some sort, diba? If it's not cleared with the person you're targeting, don't take shots at them. Because if you are the only person who knows you're going into business, then it's gonna end badly for you. Diba? And it ended badly for Chris Charlton. I hope that he learned his lesson. Like, yes, okay naman yung heel points, but if that wasn't the creative direction that was given to you, then you're just really putting your foot in your mouth.
Yep.
Do you have any...
Pat McAfee. Put ko si Pat McAfee.
Wala naman tinitira si Pat McAfee, diba?
Wala naman tinitira si Pat McAfee.
Yung kasi blatant kasi. He was naming names.
Yeah.
Charlton. He was naming names.
He thought he was doing something by stoking this by pushing this narrative, diba? But syempre mukhang no one was instructed to push this narrative. And I think I would blame I would kind of blame a little bit Walker Stewart for not trying to put a stop to Chris Charlton's
yun nakakatawa sa akin dito when he was going on his time, and I've seen it by the way. So when he was going on his tirade, they just let him go. Like wala man lang nagsabi dun sa headset niya na, what the fuck are you doing, diba? Or wala man lang nag-cut ng mic niya. Just let him be. And then now they decided to suspend him, which is like bonkers. Because apparently if my only thought here is that they let him do it, and then they got some feedback, and then now they were like, I'm sorry, Chris, nagalit sila, wala tayong magagawa. Diba? That's how I see this going down. Diba? They had to throw him under the bus.
I think they got it Tony Khan.
Yeah, diba? Yeah, that's what I see here happening. They let him. He was doing his heel thing, and then they thought, wala lang yan, commentary naman yan eh. And then nagalit si Tony Khan, and then that's when shit hit the fan, and they had to throw him under the bus.
It's weird because I'm sure Tony Khan was backstage at Gorilla watching the whole show, diba? I mean, he let it happen. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, yun pa, diba?
It's a lot weird all around. But anyways,
people are saying that because if you notice in the middle of the show they sent out Rocky Romero to be a commentary. People are saying that that was like para bantayan si Charlton on the. It still did it.
Hindi mo siya pinagsabihan ni Rocky.
Yun niya.
So that's super
he just
weird.
Went on and on.
A lot of weird stuff all around. A weird handling of this entire issue, I think.
Yep.
Right, that's it for our topics, our talk points for today, this week. Thank you for joining us here on the live stream once again. Before we get out of here, do you guys have any plugs? Chino, what do you got going on?
Yeah, January 23rd, I have a show with other long tenured, sabi natin, comedians of Comedy Manila. We're calling ourselves the best of the mega vets.
You know.
Yung tumambay lang na matagal sa comedy scene. So that's happening January 23rd, two Thursdays from now, I'm sorry, at the Vault in Green Hills. Drop by after the live stream. You can get your tickets at www.comedymanila.ph. Also, I am recording more episodes of the Class Clown podcast to put them out while I'm not in the country in the near future. So check those out when they drop. It'll be a few weeks, but they'll be out soon. linktr.ee/Chino Supersize for everything that I do.
All right, Emil, you got anything to plug?
Wala naman. Just follow the podcast on all social media platforms and subscribe to Gang and Patreon.
Right. Ako naman, Unmasked is coming back tomorrow. Got an episode ready to go in the can. Just wait for that. I'll announce it on my social media accounts. It is to wrap up the year 2018 and to kick off 2025. All right, so stay tuned on Master Chronicles of Roman and Sandata on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. NextCon WrestleStorm 2 and the next World Underground Wrestling show has been announced already. NextCon WrestleStorm 2 will be happening on March 16, 2025. And that is a Sunday, I believe, or a Saturday.
Sunday. I checked the calendar.
Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. And I'm not sure if tickets are already available. I'm so sorry, but stay tuned na lang for more updates. And we're looking for sponsors. Wala pa. I don't know anything yet myself. I don't even know if I'm wrestling on the show yet, so who knows. If you are able to sponsor our DexCon and World Underground Wrestling show, or DexCon shows, please go check that out as well. We're always looking for partners to help put on our amazing local shows. Yun. That's it. Thank you so much once again to Babyface producer Jasper and the management team, the production team over on the Pod Network for making us sound great, as always, better than we are, and for giving us a home to talk about wrestling with all of you, to be part of your wrestling diet every week. Please follow us and join the conversation on Wrestling 2X Pod on Twitter and Blue Sky, at Wrestling Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And at Wrestling 2X Pod on TikTok as well, and Wrestling Podcast on Facebook as well. For ourselves, it is at EML_Meiser for Emil, at Chino Supersize for Chino, at Monday Night Rowan for Rowan SH, at _Stancy for Stan, myself at Rose War on Twitter, and Blue Sky at Shang.Daddy on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. Until the next time, we'll see you next week. We have some special episodes planned for you, and Shepard, we have the live stream and weekend reacts and picks of the week happening every week for you guys. Stay safe, stay dry, umuulan ulit. Stay healthy because a bug is going around once again. And don't be a dick, guys. Wrestling Podcast out. Peace.